My name is Don Kent. I've been playing Frisbee quite a few years, ever since my grandmother sent me a yellow Frisbee that could be worth some money today, but it was probably 45 years ago. The more I played, the more I wanted to play, and it was fascinating. I grew up wanting to throw strikes from the outfield. I wanted to catch the football and everything. But for some reason, the Frisbee clicked with me. And when I got into college, I got to watch one of the best Frisbee players that I saw at the time, and watched him for about 4 weeks, and finally got in on the game with him. And it was Phil Pollack. We played in Schaefer Court. And Phil is bugging me now, but we became very good friends. And at first there was some competition with us in wanting to play. It was a little contentious and everything, but Phil ended up as being part of my wedding party as one of my groomsmen and everything. So that was pretty much how I got started. And with Phil, I was always looking for somebody that was better, that inspired me to play. Well, after I got out of college, I was one of the first people that joined the Washington Area Frisbee Club when Larry Schindel came out. And when Larry came, it was under the guise of Ultimate Frisbee, but Larry taught us there was something like maximum time aloft, distance, golf, double disc court. We had many different things to do with the Frisbee than just play Ultimate. So I went on from there. I was at the very first Virginia State Frisbee tournament 42 years ago. I'm not 100% sure why, but I've been nominated and accepted into the Virginia Hall of Fame for disc sports. And it really feels like I have fulfilled a dream of my life. But along that dream of my life, to make it this far, there's been many players that were excellent. Freestylers, Tree Rust is one of the people. However, my job more or less kept me away from playing all the Frisbee that I wanted to play. And for some reason, or I know the reason, is I watched Peter Blurm at the Air and Space Museum, which I was staff of every one of those. Because of watching Peter, I decided I was going to get a dog of my own, but I had to get married because I was traveling with the job all the time. So a wife was helping me take care of, but I met Tom Worley, who is a master. He's a Hall of Famer for canine Frisbee. He's also Lifetime Achievement Award. And I latched on to him, and he taught me everything. But I think because I had a freestyle background in doing Frisbee, that the dog was a natural fit. And we went early into the 90s when there was the Ashley Whippet Enterprises, and it was somewhat difficult being one of 2 dogs out of 50 dogs to get to go to the World Finals. I got to go 3 years in a row, and I finished 3rd place 3 years in a row, which the first year that I didn't make it, Irv Landers, I hope people know something about Irv, he invited me to be part of the staff of the World Finals in Washington, D.C. Everything was always paid for. We had banquets, we had hotels, uniforms, but Canine Frisbee led me into another passion, another thing that I really desired to do. Because of Tom we started the Windy City Canine Disc Club, and from there we used to do shows, and it worked up into approximately about 15 NFL halftime shows, many professional soccer, a lot of communities would have us come in and do demonstrations for people, because there's a lot of wonderful dogs that the people didn't know how to throw Frisbee. That's what Tom and I came in, and once we did one show for a community, they had our number and they had us back for years and years and years. And it came to the point of, you got to mow the lawn sometime and everything, but we always kept the humanity of canine Frisbee as our #1 goal. We had a motto that was dedicated to fun, healthy exercise, responsible canine ownership, and the advancement of the sport of canine Frisbee. And that's, I think, what we did. We co-founded the club, became one of the largest clubs in the U.S., and it was the friendships that were made from doing this. It wasn't for self-gratification. It was more for just the love of the sport. Unfortunately, dogs get old. Once my dog, and I determined she was too old to compete and everything, and I started having children, not until I was 38 years old. Let me tell you, dogs are a lot easier to train than children are. So I've had a very successful life in the sport. I made the very first 14 Virginia State tournaments. I moved to Chicago. I came back. I've made the last 20 years of the Virginia State tournament. Not so much as a competitor all the time, but because of the friendships, the warm feelings that I get in my heart when I see people over and over again. It's truly a wonderful thing. I play ultimate Frisbee now. I'm 64 years old, and most people I play with are 20 to 30 years younger than I am. And I try and help out as much as I can to keep up the spirit of the sport, not the glory of the sport. The wonderful catches, everybody's a quarterback, everybody's a wide receiver. We play with children. Our motto for our club is everybody plays. We really don't keep score. It's 3 to water is what we play. But we play with a lot of adults. We wear ourselves out, and we just have a blast at doing it. So I've always, from when my grandmother sent me my first Frisbee, I have been involved with trying to get up to the next level of where it was, finding some of the best people to play with. And I feel that I've done this. The fact that that I'm being interviewed for this right now, and the person that's doing it, I think, is one of the best people in the sport that we have going on now, because there is true heart in this whole thing. And that's why, if I was nominated for any reason, it was because of the passion, the heart, the love of the sport. I came up with somewhat of a motto of Frisbee friendships last lifelong, and that's what it's been with me. I've run into people I haven't seen for 30 years, and we still give each other a wonderful hug, and that's pretty much my story, unless I just have a passion. This is one of the better things that's happened in my lifetime. It's right up there with having, my children succeed in college, so that's pretty much how it is. I'm still in wonderful land because I made the Hall of Fame, and what could be better than that is to have all these people behind me, and that's about all I've got to say. So I'm a lucky person to have gotten to this point.